Hello and welcome to the Leckiju Lounge. This is your host Lex, and as my brother would always say,
let's talk capella.
Welcome back. Today we're joined by my brother. Would you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Ephraim.
He's my older brother, believe it or not, and we actually just went to the movies last night. We went to the cinema to go see Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Can you tell us your thoughts on it?
Well, I knew they were going to be playing it for the 20th anniversary, so I was really excited, and I've been talking about it for a long time. And a friend of mine went, so I really wanted to go. And then I was telling Lex about the tickets, and I hadn't actually looked, but then he looked, and then he was like, oh, they're actually not that high. So then he took me, and it was quite magical.
You literally were like, you said, they're expensive, and I was like, well, how expensive are they? And he didn't know and hadn't looked. And I'm like, it's really easy to buy tickets. So we were talking in the car, and I was like, we need to get you on the plan of getting, if you want something, just look it up. And buying tickets is not that hard, and you have money, so like, what's the deal?
I don't like to put in the technology work.
Because buying, I mean, as far as purchasing them, it just like asks for the PayPal, and I just do it real quick. But I don't know, it's not that hard. But the movie was good. We went to a new movie theater that we've never been to. Pretty small, but I think it was pretty good. I think we'll go again. But the show was good, and we've obviously seen the movie. We watched Star Wars, the second episode, kind of recently, which is my favorite, and the third one, I guess, would be my second favorite. What's your top three?
Top three, well, I'd have to say my favorite is Revenge of the Sith. Second favorite, probably Empire Strikes Back. And third, probably Attack of the Clones, which is the second one.
I think Attack of the Clones favorite, Revenge of the Sith second, and I don't know. I think I forget some of the parts of the last three, or last three in my mind, not like the actual last three. But I guess I would probably say the Phantom Menace, the first one. I actually heard people, and I meant to tell you this, in the bathroom talking about, and I think they had just come out of Star Wars, and they were talking to guys about the newer movies or something, and I don't think one of them had seen them, or I don't know, one of them was like, well, you'd probably like the newer ones, and he I don't know, he was like the newer ones, like, and just kind of like drifted off. And I feel the same. I mean, I don't know if I've seen all the new ones. Did we see them all?
I think you didn't watch the very last one, because I watched it with just my mom and dad. But yeah, I've seen all of them.
What was it called?
Rise of Skywalker.
I remember that something with the name Skywalker being in the last one. It was like Force Awakens, then Rogue One came after that.
And Solo shortly after.
So Rogue One, Solo, and there was another one with was it something like Rises? Something Rises? Or you just said the Rise of Skywalker? Maybe that's what I'm thinking. But
I'll look it up.
He's gonna look it up. Either way, from Force Awakens on, it was just not really it. And I'm not even like the biggest Star Wars fan, but I grew up with them because my dad was a big fan, my oldest brother a big fan, and then this one too. But like, we always played with them as a kid, and it was like always fun. We used to actually have this game where we would like play with my dad's old Star Wars toys and like kitchen food, and we would like cook the characters. It was kind of weird. We'd like cook. So what do we have?
The Last Jedi. That's what I could remember.
Okay, so it goes, is this like in order?
Yeah, I mean, these are the shows as well, but it would be Force Awakens, then Last Jedi, then Rise of Skywalker. So I was right on the last title.
And then what's that, Galaxy's Edge? Is that a show or is that a new one coming
I
out?
haven't heard of it, so it might be a show.
Well, I'm not in on the lore, but you're pretty in on the lore. You watched Clone Wars recently, so that's what I've been hearing about lately, really all. But the movie theater was fun. It was a good experience because I've grown up watching that movie at least like once a year, I feel, and seeing older movies in movie theaters is just pretty cool because like otherwise there's no like opportunity for you to do that again. But we don't really go to the movies often. I talked about I haven't been since July 2023, so it's been quite a while. And we talked about last night, I don't think you answered, I don't know, if you could see any movie in movie theater, what would it be?
I said So Close, which I talked about last time I was here.
Actually, I was thinking about our movie list. Was any of the Star Wars on your movie list?
No.
But he has a deep love for it, but it just didn't make the cut. I mean, top 20 is kind of crazy to think about, but I think I said that I would want to see Charlie's Angels 1 and 2 in the movie theater because I think movie theaters are good for action. For comedy, it's like, it's good, but it also feels like a little, I don't know, forced for people to actually like laugh in the movie theater. What do you think?
I think it's just kind of weird for comedy because typically when you're in the movie theater, there's more like, oh, you're taken into the story and it's louder. Why would you necessarily want like comedic jokes to be louder and like involved? Because like for something like Star Wars where it's like fantasy, you do want to like go there and feel like you're in space. So I think that makes more sense.
And I think actually watching it last night, I was just thinking about the way a lot of the stuff looked and how like movies oftentimes are like made for the movie theater because that's where they're going to first be seen. So it's like that movie seemed like it was like things looked different. It felt like it wasn't 3D, but it was like felt like the movement was like almost a little dizzying because like the spaceships and stuff to me, and it's a big screen, but like it feels like it's supposed to be that type of immersive experience, but other movies I don't feel like they're made for movie theater. Like I can't think of one off the spot, but I'm thinking about like movies that would be like Netflix originals or things that are literally just made to be on streaming that are comedies, or even like Hallmark movies that they're never intended to make it to movie theaters, so it's not like they're going to be made for that. I think like movie theaters are good for horror movies because it's loud, it's just scarier all together. And then action's pretty good. Romance can be good, but again, it's like, it's what are you really amplifying in the theater?
Yeah, I feel like romance would be very strange. Like even movies that I'm thinking about that I really like, it would just be like the music would be nice at least because it would be very melodic and loud. But then when they're like just talking and being in love, it's kind of like I don't really need to see your face that big for this.
And I mean, I would obviously go see like Mean Girls or something because I love it and the music and stuff, but it's like, it would be a fun experience. I would go, but it's not really, doesn't make that much sense. I remember when they did, I think back in Myrtle Beach, when they did those like throwback movie times, and they did do Halloween, but we didn't go see it, did we?
No, and they also played Empire Strikes Back, but we didn't go see that. We only saw Gone with the Wind.
That's right. We did see Gone with the Wind, very long. It has an intermission though, so at least there's that. But we did see that, and we saw it with your little friend at the time. And wasn't it on your birthday or Mom's birthday?
It was in between our birthdays, so we did it for both.
And the fun fact of our family is that my dad's name is Rhett from like Gone with the Wind, and his parents always had Gone with the Wind theme stuff and decor. And my mom's name's Tara, which is the name of the house, and her sister's name is Scarlett, which is the name of the main character, which is always just lore. And I remember talking about it on TikTok Live one time, and I was like, I really forgot about that, because we used to tell people a lot, because it was like your family, I guess, interesting thing, but a lot of people don't even know what Gone with the Wind was. But it's like I hadn't said it in so long, and then I said it on TikTok Live, and I was like, you know what? I forgot about this. But It's a pretty good movie. I think it's pretty historical, so I think people should watch it like for school more than anything. Or if you're like a film student, I think you should study that. But I remember those throwback movies they did. I remember The Notebook being one, and it's like obviously known as a classic good romance drama. But that in the movie theater is when I was thinking about like what would you really get different. So I have a question for you. This is a question I've wanted to... You can't be looking. Don't be looking. I've been wanting to ask, like, keep something similar for every guest that I have. And I don't know if I'm going to keep up with this, but I wanted to, like, ask these questions because these are, like, the two questions that I find most interesting with people. And honestly, in my head, I want to keep this, like, even in the future. If, like, no matter what I'm doing, like, if I meet someone, I just want to, like, ask them, someone I care about. And I'm going to answer as well since it's the first time I'm doing it. But the first question is kind of a two-part, which is your celebrity crush, but I need to know your first ever memory of a celebrity crush versus your current celebrity crush. Because I think that these two questions it's not like they teach you the most about someone. They do teach you a lot about them, but like, for me, this is what I'm most interested in knowing about somebody. So, you're first. You can hold the mic.
Well, it wasn't... I'll start even before an actual crush developed. But when I was really small, the first woman I saw that was, like, attractive to me was the HTC woman. This Is Life. Connect with it. I liked her pantsuits, and I mean, that woman still looks good. She's not, like, too attractive to me now, but she is nice looking. So good taste from the start. My first real celebrity crush, I think, was Rose Byrne, which I still really like her. She's a very talented actress. And I think what I remember her in first was Spy, which is funny because it's a very adult film, but we watched it when we were younger. But then current, Shuki, my favorite actress ever. She's a little bit older, but she doesn't look it. She's fabulous in all that she does. So those are mine.
And by a little bit older, how old are we talking?
She turned 51 earlier this month.
But you don't care about that, do you?
I do not.
How old is Rose Byrne about now? Is she like 30 something?
I think she turned 41.
Work. But at the time when you first saw her, she was probably like
35.
Yeah, she was definitely younger. But I forgot about that time, but that was cute. I think we were on like Kindle Fire time. And so imagine like we have Kindle Fires we got from our grandparents, and we were like pretty late to phones. I was earlier than him because we got them at the same time. But, like, even I felt a little bit late compared to who was getting phones. Kids have phones at, like, 6 years old these days. And we had Kindle Fires, and that was, like, your source of internet. So, basically, all I did on that app was, like, hardcore Pinterest and YouTube for, like, music and music videos. And then, like, I guess Google search. But I remember having screenshots of, like... I think mine at the time was Chris Hemsworth. I had a bad obsession at the time, but I didn't think of it as a celebrity crush back then, but now looking back I do. And you had like your Rose Byrne screenshots, and I love that for us on a Kindle Fire. And honestly, not much has changed for us. Not like, I'm not saying with them, but like we do have phones, but we kind of act the same as we did then with the internet. But honestly, you were pretty internet savvy back then on the Kindle Fire. So yeah, my first celebrity crush that I remember was like Selena Gomez as Alex Russo, and that was like, it was Selena Gomez, but I think it was also more so the character, because like I thought of her as Alex, because she's like, reasons to be attracted to her. She was like cute. She was a wizard. She was, I guess, kind of a rebel. Not that I don't really feel like I'd be into that now. I mean, obviously, but I just feel like she was cool. I had all the merch. I had like the Alex Russo wand. I had this little globe. My parents got me that. It was like a magic ball from the show, and you could talk to it, and it had her voice in it. It had a few sentences. And my parents always talk about how I used to talk to that thing for so long, because like that was my girlfriend in the ball. So that was pretty cool. And current celebrity crush, I mean, like, my crushes are on my walls, but my crush of crush is right here, which is Son of AT's in the middle. He's got that short bang up there. But yeah, Son, he's just the crushes of crushes. And I was talking with my friends at work the other day, because we got on the topic of meeting celebrities, because the side note, I had a memory come up where I met 2 celebrities at a Home Depot, and then I was talking after that. I was like, well, I've actually like met my celebrity crush of all crushes, and not like met, but we did like talk a little. He saw me, and like I have a video of it. I'm sure everyone has heard the story before, but now the other question is the dream job, which is also kind of a 2-part, and I know you might struggle with this one, but because I like to know like the first job that you ever wanted, or first jobs you remember wanting, or even just career plans, and then what you're feeling now.
For first dream job, I don't remember if this is the absolute first choice, but I remember Brock and we both wanted to be vigilantes together, and honestly, I'd still take that job. That sounds like a good one, but that would be unpaid.
Well, not if you like how we've talked about, if you were to take them down and go through their pocket wallet a little bit. But honestly, a lot of people don't do cash, so I don't know. Like, I think you could have done that back in a different time, but now it's like, I mean, I guess you can read their card and like, you know, that's a lot of work though. That's a little too technical.
Yeah, I don't know if I could handle that, especially not out in the field. But more seriously, I think my first dream job was to be a Power Ranger at Disney, which now Disney doesn't even own Power Rangers, so that's not a thing. But they used to be at Hollywood Studios, and they would just pose for pictures with you and like do the little thing. And I was like, that's perfect for me. Also, I could do a lot more than they were doing, because they just kind of would hit one pose. I'm like, they need to be doing some tricks or something. So that was definitely the first like more serious one.
Well, did you know, like as a kid seeing them, that it was like not actual Power Rangers?
I mean, yeah, because even when like I'd see like Stitch, because he was my favorite at the time, I'm like, I know it's not like Stitch, obviously he's not that tall, but I still enjoyed it, because I'm like, it's still a moment.
And I think that's funny, because I've thought about it growing up, about like when I see our old photos like with Santa and stuff for Christmas, and I think like in the moment I never thought that was Santa, but I did believe in Santa, which is like weird. But I felt like same with the Easter Bunny. It's like, and I don't know what all kids think. I think it's different for some kids, but like, you know, it's not a mascot suit. Like, and I know that the Santa is like a costume, but I still did believe in the Easter Bunny and Santa at the time. So it's like those characters, I don't know, some of the characters I think in Disney, like I felt that they were real, but not like real characters in the movie or in the universe, but not like right in front of my eyes. Because I knew like it's a costume and this is part of the amusement park, which I feel like some kids maybe don't get, like when they're posing for a photo, which it's still magical. Or like when they see Mickey Mouse, like we know it's not like a mascot suit in the movies or like in things like that, but like when kids be seeing Mickey Mouse, it is Mickey Mouse to them. Like, I don't know.
That is kind of strange.
But your current dream job, talk about it.
I'm not too career based in life. My dream job would be a stay-at-home dad with one daughter, but if I actually have to choose like a career, I'd either choose probably a vigilante, but no, I was gonna say like a private performer of some kind.
I think
that'd be fun.
The money for a private performer would be better than like most performer money, but you saying you're not, I think you said I'm not career based. I think people should start using that to say, like in an interview or something, if you're not particularly motivated or something, you're gonna say I'm not really career based at this moment. But that's fine. We've always talked about this because like there's a lot of jobs I want to do and like careers I want to do, and I would pass you some if I could, but that like the want to do them, but I think at the end of the day you want to be a parent, and that is a job. I mean, or that's a career plan for sure. Stay at home, like some people have to do it anyways. And we were talking about sickness the other day, how if you like get sick and a parent has to stay home, like you can't go to work because your kid's sick, that's a good time to have a parent to take care of them. I think my dream job when I was a child, I remember wanting to be like, I don't know, some type of performer, because like I remember being in our room, in our where our bunk beds were. We had like a dinosaur room with bunk beds, and I remember like when no one was in the room, I would be like putting on some kind of show, and it's like I wasn't just picturing myself like performing or like being a part of it, but I was also like picturing the whole scene, which I think is where the choreographer side comes out, or like the director side comes out, which I don't know if I want to be the director of a ballet or like a company or anything like that. That's too much. But like the choreographer part of not just like picturing what I'm doing, but like the whole scene and the whole like thing. Like I remember doing that in our little room, and the bunk bed, I remember thinking of it as like a set or part of the set, because I used to climb up. I want to see our bunk bed nowadays, because I bet it seems so small being like 6'2". No, yeah, and like I could probably step up to the top bunk, but like it was rather small. But I remember climbing up one of the columns and like sitting kind of perched and with like an attitude leg wrapped around the front, and that would be like, I don't know, a starting position or something for a scene. I don't know why I really remember that, but that was fun. I guess some type of performer. I remember when I was like also in childhood, I wanted to be like an aerialist, which is still a performer of some sort, like do more circusy type of stuff, which I still think about from time to time. I just don't think like I would want to do that all the time. I think that would be fun for a day or like an activity to do, but doing that as like an actual performer seems really hard. And I don't know, I still consider it, but then now I mean, still want to perform occasionally in a way, dance wise, still want to choreograph from time to time, and want to model, of course, and that's the dream of dreams. And then end it off with a fashion designer type legacy, because that'd be cool. Why not? What?
Something. It wasn't like my actual dream, but when you were talking about the bunk bed, it made me think of it, because I used to play Spider-Man on that bunk bed a lot, and to keep me in dance, because I kept telling my mom I wanted to quit, and she told me that, and like showed me videos of Spider-Man on Broadway when that was a show, and that's how she got me to keep doing it. So I did think at one point I was going to be Spider-Man on Broadway.
I forgot about that, but that is really, I mean, that would be a really awesome role. I feel like I thought of Broadway at some point in my life, but that seems like a really hard lifestyle. But I think you could have done Spider-Man for sure. And that made me think, I recently found a new Broadway show because a friend of mine keeps going. They just moved to New York and they're going to like show after show. And they went to this musical called Boop the Musical, and it's like made about Betty Boop. And I didn't even know this was a thing. But we have a friend who has like Betty Boop everything, like merch. And she does have a short, like dark hair. So she's kind of like, her brand is Betty Boop. She is Betty Boop. And I was like, I think you missed your calling. I mean, she's not a singer, so this is like, you know, main character on Broadway, obviously gonna sing, but she is a dancer. So it would at least be cool to be a part of the show, even as a backup dancer in Boop the Musical. But I didn't even know that was a thing. So if you could make a musical about something, what would it be?
I would probably do, I don't know why it came to mind, Transformers the musical. I think because I was thinking about the sounds. Like, if in the background, or even just a scene change and you hear that, and if they had like the, like a set that could transform, that would be awesome. But that wouldn't really be a good one, I don't think. I don't know what maybe a Mortal Kombat musical. That would be beautiful.
What about a Mario Kart musical? Because there's a lot of characters for everyone, like a lot of leads, or like, I don't know, there's just a lot of parts in general. Because I was thinking about just taking one character, how like Betty Boop per se, but I was thinking like Bowser, because there's that Bowser figurine right there, and I was thinking like Bowser the musical. But I think Mario Kart would be really good. Like, the music's good, the backup and stuff. And Mario, like, most of all of the games is like Mario going through something or like a task, and normally in musicals you follow like the main character through the whole thing. But Mortal Kombat the musical, talk about it.
Well, first with the Mario, I was gonna say like the Luigi segment could be like scary, and like that would be so good. I always loved the Luigi games. But no, Mortal Kombat the musical, they would have to compose a lot of new music because Mortal Kombat only has a couple of themes, but I think it would be really good. And I would also love to see like the fashion and the costumes for like Outworld and all of that. It also is just something I like, and you could have the duels set up and they could be like dance-offs kind of. I think that would be really entertaining. And also the set, like for Shao Kahn's throne being just like stairs up to the middle, and they could like actually dance down that, like the Tarkatans. I think that'd be really cool.
I think, honestly, Mortal Kombat would be a good, like, Cirque du Soleil show, because they always do, I mean, they do, like, all original shows. They don't, I mean, they take inspiration from things, but not, like, literal, like that. But just some type of circus show for Mortal Kombat would be cool, because a lot of the costumes just look more like that type of thing. And, you know, like those walls that we were looking at the other day that have, like, the pegs and they go in and then like slide. I feel like that is just the vibe for Mortal Kombat. But I was thinking about some of my favorite movies and thinking Clue would also be a really cool musical, just because like there are a lot of characters, and it's like a murder mystery show at the same time. And what if it was like a different outcome or something like every time? So if you went to go see the musical several times, it'd be like turn out different, alternate ending type thing.
I like that.
Do that again. So we actually were just talking off camera about the Clue musical, and we're gonna call it the Cluesical. And then we also were just talking about Lex the musical. So if I had a musical made off of me, what do you think Lex the musical would entail?
Well, it would be 7 acts because it has to be extra. There wouldn't honestly be too much like individual scenes. It would be more like, oh, sets are coming across, getting used and moved back off. So it would be like very, very continuous, but definitely a lot of ridiculous pieces, because you would want to use like a lot of big costumes and a lot of cool sets, but you'd end up with so many, so you had to like cycle through them faster.
And I think if there was an Ephraim the musical, it's gonna be honestly definitely like action. A lot of musicals don't have a lot of action, but I think this would be like one of the first that's categorized as action musical. And it'd have, imagine you're singing, I'm picturing like, so we play badminton, right? And when Ephraim starts playing, he starts like grunting and like trying hard.
Spirit power.
And I'm thinking you're singing or someone's singing and fighting, but then there's like those types of grunt stuff. How do you do it during badminton? So, and I swear that he's making it up. He says that it actually gives him more power and that it actually works, but I don't really know. So, we're going to jump into our category or our segment called Leckiju's Cues. This is where you can submit questions on my Instagram, either of my accounts, at Leckiju or at leckiju.kpop, and I'll answer them. Or we can give advice or whatever you want to hear. So, you can really ask anything. So the first question we have is fave album. That's it. So what is your fave album, or like maybe a top 3?
That's music specific, right? Album.
Yeah. Well, it could also be a soundtrack to a movie. I guess that counts as an album, I think. I don't know. Or is that too broad? Go music first.
Okay. If I'm just picking music, I think I would say the Remember album by Tiara, which includes like Ti Amo, Prism, and Farewell Movie. I think that's really it that came out new on that album, but it is really good and I like the concept. But outside of just music for like movies and stuff, we talked about Revenge of the Sith. I think that soundtrack is solid from beginning to end. It has no bad ones. But I really like the Nightmare Before Christmas album. I like to listen to that like around the holiday, and I just let it play through continuously.
Do you think it's more of a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
It's both.
If you had to choose one?
Halloween, because it's from their perspective.
I kind of think so too. I mean, I think the marketing for that is great, but like, I think of it more of a Halloween movie because of the color of most of it, and like the characters that you actually are following are Halloween characters. But the music sounds more spooky-ooky.
Spooky-ooky.
But I think, let's see, fave album. I think the 80s Outlaw album, the EP, The World EP Outlaw. What am I saying? But I think that's my favorite album of theirs. Maybe tied with the World EP Finn, because that was like their full studio album, and it's hard to choose. Outlaw has like a whole consistent sound within the whole thing, and it's shorter, so it's like they're all good, no skips. Not that the other one has skips, but it's like longer, so there's probably more songs that I disliked on the album, or not disliked, but liked less. And I don't know though, it did bring us Crazy Form and Ariba and like Meths and things like that, so I don't know. It's one of the two. And as far as soundtracks for a movie, I want to say my favorite soundtrack from any movie is like Burlesque or something, but I don't know. I think actually I'm just gonna go with that, because I've even loved it from like a young age. So I don't know, I would say that's just the vibe. And then our next question: describe how you would see a fashion line based on Mortal Kombat. Do you know who sent this in?
It was probably a really big Mortal Kombat fan. It might have been Melina, because it's her birthday today and she sent it yesterday to see if like she could get it on her day.
Okay, sure. So, do you want to take this question or what? Or actually, do you know, like, well, did you mean that, like, see a fashion line, like, how you would actually see it, or, like, what I would do if I was doing it?
I was picturing if, like, you already had your fashion company and you were doing it for me because, you know, I like Mortal Kombat.
So you're seeing into the future a little bit?
Yes.
Because I'm gonna say, like, I would highlight, okay, there's two things I would do, because I would want to highlight main characters, but then I would also want to have, like, a lot of the show be just a general theme. That's, like, typically what people do, because you want to, like, have the like the key points and the things that people would like and look out for, but then you also want to have your own creativity and like your own visions. So it's like you would have someone open the show be like, I don't know, one of the bigger characters like Katana or Liu Kang or something, and I don't know, I would say every once in a while, like every few model that comes out would be a character that you would be able to recognize, and but in between would just be like things that go with the theme and look like Mortal Kombat, or like, I don't know, are just inspired by but are totally new, like creative looks. But the ones that would be the characters would be like very noticeable, like this is Katana, this is Melina. What characters do you think I would like need to highlight?
I think one, you would like this one because it is a version of Liu Kang, but whenever he becomes Fire God Liu Kang, and he gets like basically glowing lightning tattoos on his arms, and I think you could play off of that because that would be good body art. And also he uses like blue fire and red fire, like usually one out of each hand, and I think it's really pretty. So you could play into that, like if the outfit looked like it was burning both sides. And they do the symbol, they decorate the symbol that way, the little Mortal Kombat dragon, and it's always gorgeous.
I think that sounds cool. The body art sounds cool. I think the characters that I know well, like I would highlight the girl characters, I think, because there is less, but also like they're ones that I see more for, I guess, because they do go a little bit more like out for their costumes, like a little bit more fashion, more color and stuff like that. So I think like Katana and Jade, Melina, I almost called her Raven, Scarlet, Sindel, like Devora, those would all be highlighted for sure.
The Scarlet, like the blood would look so good, and you could also decorate, like if you had a projection background or even the alleyway, you could do like the blood running down like as she's walking, or whoever's in the costume.
I'm thinking like dripping red beads, like where it looked like blood. And I think for the male characters we would highlight Raiden, maybe like Ermac, because like mummy type look would be super cool, like dragging all the way down, like dragging all the way behind him, the rags of it, and
like green earrings for his eyes. You could also do a Kung Lao with the hat, the saucer hat,
and it's beaded all the way down to the floor around the whole hat, like
for performance quality, like they pull it off and they throw it and it like comes back, like if it's on a string, so it just has that little
diva. I don't really think that there'd be a huge audience for this, but I also feel like even if it's like, if you didn't know anything about Mortal Kombat, if you came to it, it would still slay type of thing. And it would be like, there's a lot of obviously Asian inspiration to the fashion, like from classic Asian attire and stuff like that, and I just feel like people would eat it up regardless. And that's why I also think it's important to, like, in between have people who are, like, say in between every notable character, there's like 2 that are just look like they're from the Mortal Kombat world or realm, but it's like totally new fashion ideas, because it would still look really cool, and people then, it's like you don't have to be a gamer or a fan of the franchise to really be into it. Speaking of Mortal Kombat, there's a new movie come out. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. It's coming out in October. I was excited about it last year when I found out they were making it, and I saw a cast picture that the guy who plays Liu Kang, he posted it, and it's of all the cast, and I just love it because they're not like trying to change what people look like. They're actually going based off the game, and so at the table they're not in costume, but you can tell who's who, and that's how I think more movies need to be. If a character is supposed to look a certain way, put them as that as casting.
And another movie I'm excited for, I think there's a couple this year. I'm excited for Freakier Friday, which is the Disney original film, Freaky Friday, but they're doing a new one with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis again. That I'm excited for. I think it comes out in August. We're also both excited for Now You See Me, which is like going to be the third one. They're like magician movies. It has, supposedly it's going to have the original or the same cast from the last two, and that's hard to do. So is there anything else that's coming out this year?
Lilo and Stitch is coming out soon, the live action. Also, How to Train Your Dragon, which we both like those movies. What else is there?
We also saw the preview for How to Train Your Dragon in the theater yesterday, and that was pretty cool. I don't feel like I have to go to the movie. I mean, I basically saw like some of the highlights in theater, and I probably wasn't going to go anyways, but we'll see. I will probably go or wait till it's on streaming or something, because I don't think it'll take that long. But it looked pretty frame for frame, like you were saying, but the casting also looks great, except for the Astrid, but we'll see how she does with the whole movie. But the Hiccup, he looked good. The haircut was wild, but it is in the cartoon, so I thought it was pretty good. I don't know that was his hair, though. Yeah, I don't know. But anything else?
It's not coming out this year. It's supposed to come out next year if they finish it, and I hope they do. The Ronin Turtle, it's the Ninja Turtles. Once all the brothers are killed off except one, and you don't know which one it is, and he has all the weapons because it's based off the comic. I hope they end up finishing that movie because it could be so good, and I think the fan base for it is good, so hopefully it turns out. But that's the only one I think I forgot.
And what movie are you gonna direct and produce and star in that's coming out this year?
Well, I was actually going to do One of Us, maybe. I talked, because we used to do like little fight sequences and I'd film them, and I talked about doing a lightsaber one because we never did, but usually they're just kind of like one-on-one, kind of beat down, use what's around the room, like Jason Bourne style, which they're usually end up being comedy instead of just action, but I think that's always a good element to have.
Talk about White Rabbit, the movie.
So you're gonna, instead of following Alice through Wonderland, you're gonna follow White Rabbit, and I'm gonna film it in my backyard because it's basically a jungle back there, and he goes through Wonderland looking for carrots, and yeah, that's pretty much the whole film.
I think honestly you should, I just thought of that and I was like, you should do your next like short film in White Rabbit drag. Because like, and actually in the backyard, like I'll even help film it. Like you, and we've got a trampoline out back, you're bouncing, and I'm like, come on.
What? I got it. It's gonna be the movie's called Ninja Rabbit, and it's gonna be me as White Rabbit, but also in ninja form, and ooh, I could do it like in Ninja Sentai. Whenever they go, I'd go bunny ninja, and I'd transform, and so I'd get the ninja, like my ninja abilities would be based off of bunny movement, and like you could do bunny stance, super bunny jump, and I'd use my swords and fight crime.
We're giving away too many ideas. Someone's gonna steal, but I do think the next film I might actually star in. I might actually give you some of my time to be in your movie, or even help film it if it's in White Rabbit drag. That's really just.
You could be the villain.
I could be the villain. Okay.
The villain named Carrot Top, and you have red hair.
No, well, what are bunnies like notoriously afraid of? Snakes, or is that like their? Because I could be a snake and you could be a rabbit.
I like that. Lay serpent, and that's your theme.
It's not like we actually have to be those, but like if you're wearing your rabbit and I'm wearing like something snake inspired, or like have a, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll workshop it. Maybe it'll be posted on YouTube. We'll see. Depends on how good it is. We'll see. We've reached the end of our episode today featuring my brother. How was your time on the pod? On the pod race today, because it's Star Wars themed. That actually sounds really good in here. But yeah, I told him we're not going to call it the podcast today. It's the pod race because it's Star Wars. So how was your time here?
It was mid. I'm just kidding. It was fun. Every moment with you is a moment spent in luxury.
I think you said something very similar last time.
Probably.
He always sweet talking, but if you want to find me on other socials, you can find me at Leckiju and at leckiju.kpop on Instagram, either one, and then on TikTok is at Leckiju212. You can also find all this in the link tree on the bio or in the main page of my channel. And would you like to plug any of your socials?
No, it's okay.
Said the same thing last time. But yeah, if you want to find me anywhere, please stalk me. I encourage it. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Do you want to tell them to like and subscribe?
Like and subscribe.
And turn on the notifications so you get notified every time I post a video. How cool is that? Are you a subscriber?
Yeah, don't forget to hit the subscribe.
Yeah, so this has been the Leckiju Lounge. We'll see you next time. Bye. I was wondering if you were gonna...
I feel like Sue with her C.